The brand new patch notes for TFT just dropped 13.5. Let the festivities continue. Let's look at the patch highlights. So we got buffs to Dominators, Emissaries, Pitfighter, Rebel, Draven, Cassiopeia, Ambessa, Heimerdinger, Victor. Wow, Victor actually got buffed. That's crazy. To be fair, he actually was the worst 6 cost in the last patch. And then they're also buffing 11 different augments, adjusting Enforcer, Chem Baron, and Dr. Mundo. And then lastly, nerfing Experiment, nerfing Visionary, Urgot, Steb, Echo, Elise, Caitlyn, LeBlanc, and 7 other augments. So what I'm most surprised about is the Experiment and Visionary nerfs. I actually thought Experiment was probably in a decent spot. A lot of people didn't have them that high on their ratings. I think I was one of the few that thought they were actually pretty decent. Visionary, I could see it being a little too strong, but it only works really in one comp. But I am excited about seeing the Dominator buffs, the Emissary buffs. These 2 comps I think are pretty cool right now. So let's see exactly what they're going to be changing. So we got the Rotating Shop, Treasure Realm, Ceremony upgrade, Graphics API update, and then finally the system changes. So they're changing a bunch of opening encounters. Caitlyn Gold subscription is going to show up a bit more often, double actually. Heimerdinger's Prismatic First Augment is going to be 6 to 8%. Mel's Radiant Blessing dropping down by 4%. Powder Wind Up Monkey 5 to 8%, Savika 4 to 7%, that's loot subscription, and then Victor 6 cost is being dropped, and thank God Warwick loot on kill being dropped from 8% to 3%. I think what they should do with Warwick is just lower the rewards on loot, or maybe have it give not so much gold, because this is an absolutely ridiculous encounter. I think it is the least fun one and the most RNG based, and I've been saying this since they first brought it out. If you agree with me, let me know, and if you disagree, let me know down in the comments which one's even more luck based than this one, because this is just so I think it's worse than Wandering Sentinels in terms of luck. In terms of fun, I think Wandering Sentinels is more fun. This one is just not fun and also very luck based. Augment tailoring, augments that require a certain breakpoint of traits to appear will require more units in that trait to appear on 4-2. Large changes, we have the traits first. Chem Baron 7 has been removed and Chem Baron emblem has been removed. That is a huge change. So you can no longer use the emblem to get access to the early Chem Barons, and also they will not get the HP bonus from the Chem Baron buff. But 3 has no change. 4 is going to give a little less cash out on the win streak, so that's a nerf. Chem Baron 5 is going to get more on the lose streak, and then Chem Baron 6 is going to get less on the win streak but more on the lose streak by quite a bit too. Overall, pretty big nerfs to Chem Baron. Removing the Chem Baron emblem from augments allows us to balance the trait without needing to account for extreme high rolls, which balancing around made the trait hard to play in non-high roll situations. With that out of the way, we can now allow the higher breakpoints to provide even more shimmer. I think it's just flat out worse. I'm gonna be honest here. I'm looking at the changes right now. So I think the high roll stuff is removed, but they didn't improve the low roll either. But we're not done with the Chem Baron changes. Perfected Piltover Hex Armor proc cooldown is being changed from 4 to 3 seconds. Perfected Unleashed Toxin no longer stuns, and the missiles fired is being changed from 5 to 4. Perfected Virulent Virus true damage 35% to 25%. Is it me, or are these 2 also worse? So yeah, I'm pretty sure this is just a nerf. They list it out as adjusted, and they also say up here in their description that it's not a major nerf or anything. They just say it's to account for the extreme high rolls. Maybe they plan to balance it a bit more in the future. Maybe they're going to mention a few other Chem Baron changes later on in these patch notes, so I guess we'll have to watch the whole thing. Dominator HP shield is going to be increased by 50 health at 4 Dominator and 100 at 6. Enforcer HP shield is going to be bumped up a little bit in the middle. Damage amp is going to be reduced at 8 Enforcer. Okay, that actually should be a good thing for Enforcers, right? It's going to reinforce the middle breakpoints, which decides a lot of the middle and early game, and then a slight nerf to the late game. Emissary 4 bonus HP is going to be buffed up by 50. Experiment Emblem Clone being nerfed again. This is the second nerf that they've done. Did they say anything about this? Experiment Emblem provides values similar to a Tactician's Crown with half the cooking implements, trimming back some power here, and with an Urgot nerf later on should keep the lab experiment well regulated. Okay, Pitfighter heal amount is going to be buffed up a little bit at 6 Pitfighter, and also the true damage is going to be buffed up at 6 and 8 Pitfighter. The problem with Pitfighter is that it's mainly played from family reroll. It's rare, but it is possible to go a Vi carry with this, but it really shines with the family reroll, unfortunately. I don't know if this is enough to really bring that into the forefront, but Rebel baseline HP is going to be bumped up by 3%. And lastly, Visionary mana gain, going to be nerfed at 6 Visionary. They thought that was a little too OP. You know, now that I look at the changes that they made to 6 Visionary, I think it's pretty fair. They did get a big buff in the last patch, and I thought they were going to do something much worse. This doesn't seem too bad at all. 1 cost units. Draven Axe AD percent is going to be buffed up at 3 and 4 stars. Steb ability heal is going to be nerfed at 1 star, but buffed at 2 and 4 star. 2 cost units. Urgot ability AD percent is going to be nerfed at 3 stars. Secondary damage also nerfed at 3 star. Yeah, Urgot's pretty strong, right? Even with the nerfs last patch. Way too tanky and also did a decent amount of damage. 3 cost units. Cassiopeia primary ability damage is going to be bumped up across the board. Miasma damage, same thing. Yeah, Cassiopeia has yet to find her moment. This said true, very true. I want to see some Dominator reroll. Can there be like a Cassiopeia Blitzcrank Dominator reroll? It makes a lot of sense for it to be viable because it's the same trade, same cost level, so you could reroll for both of them. And it also is the year of the snake, so I'm hoping something gets cooked up there because that would be something really interesting to play. I don't think these buffs are going to put it there, but I'm hoping it does. Whoa, it's actually a pretty decent buff. This only happens every 3 casts, and this one happens every cast. Maybe it is. I don't think it is. If I were to bet money on it, not that I condone betting, I would assume Blitzcrank Cassiopeia reroll would not be a thing yet. 4 costs, Ambessa 3 AD buff. Ambessa 3-star also getting buffed in a bunch of different ways. Mundo armor and MR is going to be buffed up by 6. Ability heal going to be nerfed a tiny bit. Echo ability damage going to be nerfed at 2-star and 1-star. Secondary damage, same thing. Oh, it's also getting a 3-star nerf actually. And then Elise melee mana is going to be nerfed for the second cast and beyond. Heimerdinger missile damage is going to be buffed up at all levels. Keep in mind, it might seem like a small buff because it's 50 to 52, 75 to 78, but you also have to keep in mind he throws a lot of missiles throughout the fight. This definitely is going to be adding up quite a bit because every time he casts, he adds an additional missile to his next fire. 5 cost units, Caitlyn AD is going to be nerfed by 2. Fix a bug where in several cases, Caitlyn could miss and or fizzle parts of her ability. LeBlanc empowered auto damage is going to be decreased at 1 and 2 star. Let's read Caitlyn. What were they thinking there? Caitlyn is receiving a small nerf after a bug fix and a much smaller impact one here. So overall, like, enforcers are going to be weaker because of this, right? Like, that's the main comp she was kind of played in. Obviously, you could play her in like the sniper comps with Twitch and stuff, but mainly she was going to be played in the enforcer comp. That's where she actually matters, and she definitely did get nerfed there, right? Like 2 AD, it's small, but it is something. But you also have to keep in mind 8 enforcer also got nerfed. I'm thinking the comp is still playable, you just need the right spot for it. Whereas before it was probably really good, you could probably hard force it from a lot more spots. Now onto augment changes. Blade Dance, Aurelia carry augment. This one is going to be buffed up everywhere. Diversified portfolio and plus gold per traits is going to be changed from 1 per 3 to 2 per 4. So if you ever make it to 8, that's going to be a huge amount of gold gained. And then the middle ground of 4 is going to be pretty decent. I'd say getting 2 gold from diversified portfolio is fair enough. It's not the most, and you don't get it till like a little bit later. It doesn't happen like all the time. But if you need gold, you kind of have to take it, and it only works in a couple of different comps. Eye for an eye plus allied deaths per component 13 to 16. Mad Chemist. This is a Singe carry augment. Ability Omnivamp is going to be increased by 10%. Mentorship nerfed, Survivor Gold buffed. I wonder why they nerfed Mentorship. It's normally good in a lot of reroll metas, but I don't think it was anything that ridiculous. New table scraps after 4 carousels. Gain 1 unit that was not taken and their item. Chembaron Crest has been removed. Glass Cannon 2 damage amp 20 to 25%. This one's just really risky unless you take a Hextech Gunblade because it does damage your units. So if you get hit by a bunch of AoEs, sometimes it's going to one-tap them if you don't heal back up. Bug Fix Item Collector 2 now correctly gives 20 base health rather than 10. Moonlight AD and AP bonus 35 to 45. Martial Law Caitlyn shot 225 to 200. Reunion Vi damage nerfed a little bit. Sisters Vi AD buff by 20%. Jinx AS buff by 2 seconds. Next we have Training Arc with Pit Fighters. HP per win is going to be increased by 5. Trifecta buffed up a little bit. Why not both? Buffed up a bunch. Anger Issues, Armor and MR nerfed by 5. Belt Overflow, belts given 4 to 5, but the bonus HP is going to be reduced by 30. So it's going to be used more for building items. Chembaron Crown removed. Exalted Adventure Duplicators, next 3 stages is going to be changed to next 2 stages, so that's a nerf. Exalted Adventure Rewards reduced by 10% as well. Glorious Evolution, which is Victor. Upgrades required 9 to 6. Immovable object power increase is being nerfed by 10%. Yeah, this was just like a one size fits all augment. It works in pretty much everything, so it was just very popular. A lot of people took this. Lucky Gloves turn before third gloves is going to be 5 to 7. Pumping up 3 base attack speed 12 to 16% buff. Spoils of War 3 loot drop chance 40 to 45. I'm pretty sure Warwick's Hunger is better than Spoils of War 3. I don't know if they've ever released like which one it's equivalent to. It feels like you just get so much gold from it though. Team Up Geniuses Heimerdinger missile damage is going to be increased, and then Bug Fix Geniuses Echo images no longer do less damage than intended. Was that why it wasn't good? Was it just because of a bug? Because this trait has consistently not been that great. It used to be one of the worst ones, and then I think in recent patches it was like okay-ish, but not that great compared to the other trait augments. Trifecta 2 attack speed is also going to be increased, so they buff both the trifectas. Items and artifacts blue buff and Nashor's Tooth can now be equipped on manaless champions. Not saying it's a good idea, but they technically give you some usable stats, so go wild. I noticed this when building stuff on Zeri. Mana items do not get built on her, and they kind of get popped off if you do build it on her. I definitely did notice that. But this change doesn't really change too much. I'm surprised it's in the large section. I thought it'd be in the small section. Chem Baron emblem has been removed. Gold Collector chance for gold 40 to 33%. Mogul's Mail base HP 50 to 100. And now onto the anomalies. Center of the Universe star damage. This was a pretty popular anomaly in recent times. 85 to 80. Diving in Omnivamp being nerfed by 5. Great on like melee users or anyone that generally used Omnivamp before. Infectious Anomaly starting AD and AP 15 to 12. Last Chance bonus attack speed 50% to 33%. Holy cow, that's a pretty sizable diff. Titan of Teamwork 3-star count is going to be changed from 4 to 6. Touch of Frost duration, I love this one personally. It's actually getting buffed. They want to see more Malzahar. I won't deny them. They gave Heimer a bunch of buffs. Now they're buffing this, so if you ever get an early Malzahar whenever you are playing for Heimer and you get Touch of Frost, like definitely put it on your Malzahar. He's going to be giga smurfing. Vampiric Affinity amped Omnivamp 40 to 50%, Voracious Appetite HP per stack being nerfed by 50, and Damage Amp per stack being nerfed as well. Small changes like this section. Conqueror 9 base AD and AP is going to be buffed up by 20. Interesting. I've never made it to 9 Conqueror. It's one of the lifelong dreams of mine this set, but we'll see if we can make it happen. Scrap 9, same thing, never had it yet. Piece per shield per item is being nerfed from 65 to 60. Champions, I see other players have also gotten their third with Twitch 3. Garen 3-star is going to be buffed. Twitch 3-star also going to be buffed. Did they skip the Victor nerfs that they talked about before? Or sorry, the Victor buffs? It says Victor's buffed here, but I don't remember seeing anything changed about Victor except for one of his augments, which was like, I don't know what you would even call it, the Victor augment. Glorious Evolution, upgrades required 9 to 6. But let's go back down into Festivals of Beast Revival. I'm actually going to skip this one. I don't really play 4.5, but if you are playing it, go ahead. It does seem fun. It's just not for me right now. And then we could get into the bug fixes. So still a dummy. Training dummies inspect panel is now training dummy instead of target dummy. Gifting a unit to your partner in double up during the anomaly round will no longer cause that unit to be returned to you at the end of the round. 1000 cuts no longer grants 2 stacks on the first hit against each target. What? It actually did that? That's crazy. 1000 cuts now works correctly with another anomaly. Moonlight and Greater Moonlight can now correctly allow units to combine at the start of the planning phase. 9 scrap no longer deletes spatulas and frying pans. Killing Dragon using Center of the Universe now correctly drops an item. Center of the Universe can no longer kill units through revives. Noxian Guillotine no longer kills units through revives as well. Prismatic Flesh Rippers revive and Last Stand should now interact correctly. Quality over quantity no longer stops working in combination with unstable treasure chests or no scout, no pivot. Eek, Victor can no longer gain infinite AP with the attack expert anomaly. I did not know that was even a thing. I've actually never put an anomaly on a 6-cost unit. I don't think I've gotten them that early, but that would be fun to do. Item Collector 2 now correctly gains 20 base health rather than 10. Fix the bug where Team Up, Echo Geniuses, images were doing less damage than intended. Silver Rose, Scion Knockup no longer goes through Quicksilver. Sending a champion to your partner in double up while you have a Team Up augment no longer lets your partner get that Team Up trait. Fix several cases where Caitlyn could miss and or fizzle parts of her spell. Mel now correctly procs in double up if your partner takes damage that would reduce you to 1 health. And then we have some Festival for Beef stuff that I don't really care about. But just to sum up, like there weren't too many changes. It was like a medium-sized patch, and some of the stuff they skipped over. I think the most important things are going to be the experiment nerf for sure, and the Heimerdinger buffs. Like they buffed both Heimerdinger and Rebel, so maybe there's some like AP builds out there, because like Rebel kind of likes AP from Zoe. Did they actually buff Rebel? Yeah, they buffed it by 3% health if I remember correctly, but that should be fun to kind of try out. I think a comp that benefits the most this patch is going to be the Heimerdinger plus Corki builds, because Corki did not get nerfed and you could play them together very, very easily in a lot of different variations as like a flex build. I will be updating the website bunnymuffins.lol/meta with the newest comps on Friday or late Thursday night, depending on when I get around to it. And this patch does come out tomorrow on Wednesday. Another unit we have to consider, or comp that got changed, is the Urgot comp. That was a pretty, like, there was one Urgot player pretty much every round, right? But Chem Barons, I gotta think about this comp a bit. I think it's just like not that great anymore. Even if you're like a Chem Baron expert, it's going to be really hard to kind of use now that it got nerfed like this, because I know a lot of times before people normally went for this only when they had the emblem, and that rule is kind of out the window now that the emblem doesn't even exist. Another comp I'm excited about is the Emissary one. That one is the one that I use with Bronze for Life. It's really fun to play. It also uses Corki, which is going to be a highly contested unit in the next patch. I'm surprised they didn't touch Corki because he was very strong. They nerfed Echo a little bit, so that hurts ambushers a little bit and scrap, but I think they should be fine, right? 6 scrap's mainly good because Corki's good and you could use all sorts of different items on them. The system changes with the encounters I'm really happy about, because as like if I get fewer Warwick games, I'm happy. I swear I get it like every other game. It's not 8% before. But overall, like apart from some of the nerfs that I think will directly affect comps like Experiment and Urgot, I think everything else is relatively unaffected, but we should see more Heimerdinger action. I think he's a pretty cool unit. Just make sure you build Archangels on him. I think that's his most important item outside of the mana item. Blue buff Shojin, like blue buff is obviously better, but getting a lot of tiers is a little difficult on him, so you just build whatever you can. So just any Heimer Corki build I think will probably be one of the top comps of this next patch. But let me know your thoughts. What are you thinking is going to happen in this next patch? What comps are you most excited to play with? I will be continuing my coaching series once a new patch starts. I definitely give high priority to the people that submit games first, so check out the links below if you're interested in getting your game reviewed for free by me by checking out the form in the description. But apart from that, that's going to be kind of it for me today. Hopefully you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all next time.